What's going on, Falcon fan? This your boy Rakundo coming back at you with another video. Today it's another Falcon fan talk, and it's Wednesday. We're going to talk about it. It's 22 days away from this year's NFL draft, and the boys are back in the building. Right, they're getting ready on the offseason program to start. We're going to talk about Raheem Morris. He set the tone. Start off. We're going to talk about the Atlanta Falcons signed Eddie Goldman again for the third time. If third time's going to be a charm, that's what they all say. And then last but not least, guys, what we're really going to do, since we're into draft season, we're going to take a closer look at this depth chart for the Atlanta Falcons and kind of see where we think that the Atlanta Falcons have holes and where they might need to rush on some things like that. So that's what I got lined up for you guys today. I'm excited to be here. It's Wednesday. It's Talking Falcons Talk. Um, so with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know that I drop another video. Please hit the like button, so I know you guys out here to talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So, guys, the first news we're going to talk about today is Eddie Goldman. Yes, I'm hoping that name sounds familiar to you because he has signed with the Atlanta Falcons for the last 3 seasons now during the offseason. Back in 2022, he signed with the Atlanta Falcons. Then he decided to retire before even actually taking a snap for this team. Right? We thought he retired. Last year he came back again. Actually made it to training camp, but before anything could take place there, he retired again. Right? So this time it started off-season program for the third time. Eddie Goldman is coming out of retirement, deciding to come back and play for these Atlanta Falcons. The question is this the time where he's actually gonna actually play a snap for this team? Um, 2 years ago, when the Atlanta Falcons first decided to bring Eddie Goldman in, it was really exciting because we like, what he was able to do at his time with the Chicago Bears. I think his last productive season that he actually had, really, really good season, was in 19. You can start to see 20 and 21. You can start to see time, start to, you know, um, play time started to go down a little bit. Now we know what happened in 2020. I think that was um, something that really factored in to Eddie Goldman's decisions, to not play. And I don't think he played in that COVID year in 2020, but in 2021 came back, did not, like I said, did not play a lot of snaps. 2022 signed with the Falcons, but like I said, this is the third time. What's going on, 330? This is the third time the Atlanta Falcons have signed Eddie Goldman. Now, if Eddie Goldman decided to play with this Atlanta Falcons team, I think it's a good move for this team because it's just creating that depth that we need on that defensive line, and it kind of gives the Atlanta Falcons, a different mindset going into the needs, some of the needs that they need for this team. To me, especially, it doesn't prevent them from going out and getting another defensive tackle in the draft. Especially because what we have seen, like I said, the last two previous seasons. So I definitely wouldn't consider, not not going out and get the talent because you think you got Eddie Goldman for insurance, because we already seen the last 2 seasons. Um, that's really not a safe bet, to bet on him to be here. Also, not playing for 2 seasons, you kind of wonder what he has left in the tank. So, um, I mean, do he even make the roster? That has to be considered. Like I said, he haven't played in the last 2 seasons. I mean, if he can get back to form the way he was, 100%, definitely. But we don't know if he stayed in shape. We don't know if football shape is different than regular shape. We all know that, but that's why he's coming here. He signed with Atlanta Falcons today. It's been announced. Hopefully, he get in the offseason program with these guys, start to better, develop that camaraderie and things like that. And hopefully, this time he decide to stay. We just don't know, right? We just have to wait to see what happens with him. But like I said, if he decide to stay, it's the big. It's a. I like the move. Um, Atlanta Falcons been trying to bring him in for the last 2 seasons. Maybe this time he's here to stay. We don't know his issues, what he had, the reasons why he decided not to, to could it be a family issue, could have been an emergency, something like that, could have been a million issues. We don't know, right? But whatever reason, once again, Eddie Goldman is coming out of retirement, and the Falcons decide to bring him back once again. Hopefully, like I said, third time is a charm, and definitely add to that depth. And like I said, the last thing we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to look at that depth chart for the Atlanta Falcons and look and see where Eddie Goldsmith found. Now, this is a projected depth chart from somebody online. It's not the projected depth chart from the Atlanta Falcons. It's just what somebody else put out there. So we're definitely going to look at that. That's the last thing we're going to look at today, guys. What's going on, Nathan? He could be that nose tackle 100%. I agree with you. I think this regime is different, or maybe it's just the contract stipulations. That's a great point. 330, right? Could be, who he's playing for, Coach Raheem. We're going to talk about that in just a minute because I know everybody's seen Coach Morris, um, talk with the team. The first talk that he had. We're going to talk about that just in a minute because when I seen it, um, I just understood 100% why they decide to make Coach Raheem Morris the coach for these Atlanta Falcons. So, but guys, that's it on Eddie Goldman. Give me your thoughts on him. How you think he could contribute to this team? Like I said, is he going to say? Is he going to stay? Is he going to make the team? Where do you think he's fall up in the depth chart? That's the things we have to think about, right? The next topic, guys, is Coach Morris. And like I said, we're going to talk about Coach Morris and how he set the tone on the first day. If you have not seen that video, I advise you to go out and look at it on the AtlantaFalcon.com page. And I once I heard it, those that over a little bit over 6 minutes, him talking to the team, you completely understand why the Atlanta Falcons decide to bring in Coach Raheem Morris to this team. Um, he makes you feel like you want to go out and run through a wall. He makes you want to play for this team. Um, you can tell that his experience that he had from being the coach the first time to for being in the league for the next 11 years working for head coaches, he had really figured out what he wanted to be able to do when he get his opportunity again. And I think he's going to be successful. It still comes down to, of course, the play on the field and wins and losses and things like that. But far as being a leader of men, going out, getting these guys ready to play, I I think 100% that he will not have a problem with that. And I believe that they really now just listen to him, looking at the direction this team going, and I think they made the right decision. So I just he the things he was saying, one of the biggest things he said right at the end about the NFC South, and that's where it really boils down to, guys. You have to come out with that game plan. That has to be your mindset. You come out, guys, if we can win this division, right, we in the playoffs. And then, like he said, our bets are off. You don't know what's going to go down, right? You in the dance, you in the tournament. That's what you want to do, right? And the easiest way to get in the tournament is to win your division. So, that's a good tone to start out right from the beginning. Let the guys know what's the goal, what's the plan, right? Um, you're going to be able to develop, you're going to get better, but our plan is to go out and beat those other three teams in our division and have a better record than them. That's got to be your goal. I like the way he set the tone. Um, I think everybody's going to love playing for him, and you can see that. You already can see it. I believe his personality is also going to help in free agency. It don't seem like it so far because they ain't brought nobody in, but I believe, I think the Falcons will make more moves after the draft, and we're going to see what else they build as of this team because I believe a lot of different players will love to play for Coach Raheem Morris. So, um, his tone that he set, for me, it just, like I said, if I was still young and I was ready to go play some football, I definitely would want to go play for him. And that's what you like to see. That's what you like to see. And you can see seem like everybody gonna be lockstep. You heard what he said about the scouts, the front office, the players. He let them know it's all on them, what they're gonna have to bring to the table. I mean, what else can you say? For me, I love the way he set the tone, and I'm ready to get started. I don't know about you guys. That had me fired up, and after listening to him, I'm ready for the season to start. I will continue to say this team is still incomplete. We definitely need to make some more additions to this team to fill out, you know, other areas where honestly we might see a concern. Maybe the coaching staff and don't see it that way. Maybe they say they can develop some of these guys. So, but I still think it's incomplete. So I'm ready to go, but at the same time, I know they got a lot of more work to still to do. So, um, but I love the tone he said. I thought it was getting everybody fired up and is excited. We get Kirk Cousins in here. Everybody's already happy about that because now we got a signature caller. And then we listen to Coach Morris fire the team up on the first day, and I think everybody. Now, let's be honest. Every team, the start of the season is fired up about their season. Like if you're not, you shouldn't be getting out there, getting on the field. So every team is like that. So let's not get carried away about it. But at the same time, I think it's a different tone, right? We never heard what Arthur Smith had to say. We know he loved football just as Raheem Morris, but I just think bringing him in, I think he's setting a different tone, and you can see it right off the bat. So um, I'm excited, and I definitely want to hear what you guys got to say about it. So that's what I think about what he had to say yesterday. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, go out and look at it. Listen to what his plan, his game plan for the season, his outlook, and how he's trying to galvanize the troops already. Um, that's what I had to say about Coach Raheem Morris. All right, guys. The last thing we're going to talk about today is the depth chart. Let's talk about this Atlanta Falcon depth chart. And we're going to go down each position and talk about it and what we think. Are we good there or we're not good there? I'll give my opinions, of course. Um, Guys, you feel free to chime in anytime you get ready. So we're going to talk about this Atlanta Falcon depth chart. And guess what? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here where you guys can see it with me. So guys, I hope you got good eyesight here because I had to try to get every player on the screen here. So um, we're going to go off the list, and we're going to start with our receivers first. And first, of course, you got Drake London, right? You got Drake London up at your receivers. Behind him, like I said, guys, when you're looking at this depth chart, this is not a depth chart that the Atlanta Falcons put out. So this is what somebody projected that the depth chart will look like. It could totally be different. Nobody had played a snap yet, so this is just a projection. So um, it could be out of whack or somebody you might think somebody yet, but more than like what I'm looking at, guys, I'm just looking at the bodies here and where I think that the Atlanta Falcons definitely might have um, holes where they might need to address. So first of all, you look at the receiver position and you look at Drake London. You look at Josh Ali. You look at Matt Austin, right behind Drake London. Um, that's their right wide receiver. You look at Darnell Mooney, guy we just brought in, Cordell Hodge, and Chris Blair, right? His slot receivers, you got Rondell Moore, and Ray McLeod. Right. So the question, we look at the receiver position. You like the additions that they made already. Right now, I can see that, can anticipate the Atlanta Falcons have 6 or 7 guys in that receiver room. Most teams keep either 6 or 7 most of the time. But if that's the case, Drake, Mooney, Moore, Hodge, and McLeod is probably locks, right? So that's already 5 guys that's here. So it depends on they keep 6 or 7, right? That's going to determine who's up, what they might move. So are they going to draft a receiver? Maybe, probably. They do draft a receiver. You probably add him to the mix. So that will leave one more guy, maybe, if they decide to go 7 receivers. But right now, the receiver room, you like the way they made the transformation to it, right? They had a lot of big body guys last year. This year they got a lot of smaller guys, shifty guys that you want to be able to get out in space. So right now, yes, I still think they need to add another receiver to this room, but at the same time, if they do not add another receiver, I would not be upset about that. So we just have to see how they utilize some of their playmakers. Because don't forget, we're going to get to the tight ends. We do have Kyle Pitts out there. That's a dynamic pass catcher as well. So we'll just have to see what they decide to do with this receiver room. We go to the left tackles here. Go to our tackles. Jake Matthews. Of course, we know Jake Matthews is our Iron Man. Been playing pretty much his entire career. I think he did miss a game last year, but he's really dependable. But he is getting long in the tooth, right? He does have that Matthews bloodline, so probably could play longer than a lot of other guys there. But you love what you see out of Jake. At our left guard, we got Matthew Bergeron, right? Young man that came in, right? And like I said on the last show, when you don't call a player's name, especially offensive lineman, that means they probably playing pretty well. And I don't think we called Matthew Bergeron's name a lot last season, like we did Jalen Mayfield. And I know you guys remember how many times we had to say something about a Jalen Mayfield. So that's definitely what we did not have to see last year from so that's good. That's one good thing that we like to see. And of course, at center, you have Drew Dahlman at the center position. You got our All Pro right guard and Chris Lindstrom. Guy just got his bag last year to do his thing. And then at that right tackle position, got Caleb McGarry, who's probably our most polarizing tackle that we have on the team, offensive lineman that we have on the team, because we love him and we hate him. He has some great games where he really, fire off the ball and things like that. But then you have some of those games where he seemed like he got cement in his shoes, right? And he can't guard anybody, especially in his pass protection. So that's one of the things that, could make with the Falcons when they look in the draft. Do they need to try to fix that position? I do like the fact that this offensive line is so got so much continuity together. Matthew Bergeron is the only guy that haven't been with these guys in a while. However, when you're thinking about that, he did play really well last year. So, and we kept our offensive line coach. So, and Dwayne Ledford. So I like offensive line from starter position. You look on the back, some of the depth guys out there. You got Tyler Vrabel, who actually played pretty good. He had to come in and play a stint when some of our guys got injured last year. Javon Gwynn, guy that's probably going to end up being either more than a guard. See if he get any snaps this year in the preseason and the training camp to see what he could do. Of course, they brought back Ryan Newsel, who another guy that played some snaps for us last year. Kyle Hinton, a veteran guy that can play some both side. And then, of course, Storm Norton, the guy who played really well for us that they brought back, that's going to be probably end up being our swing tackle filling in for either Jake or Caleb McGarry if they go down. So um, the offensive line is deep, but I would honestly say I would be kind of concerned if one of these guys, one of our starters, go down. Um, I like the way these guys filled in last year, but we if any season any injuries, then I'd be kind of a little nervous there. I'm not gonna lie, especially when you got our what's the name, our quarterback Kirk Cousins that really need some blocking there. So that's one of the things that we definitely gonna like there. So um, behind them, of course, you got a couple more guys um, that probably gonna end up being practice squad guys. So I won't even bring those guys up. Barry Wesley, John Lagu. Um, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. What's going on, Philip Crawford? I'm back, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry that my screen froze on me. But we just went over our offensive line. Now we're going into our tight end room. Um, Talking about our depth chart, of course, we know we got Kyle Pitts as our number one tight end. They brought in Charlie Warner as our number two guy, blocking tight end. Really played his role in San Francisco. Former Georgia Bulldog coming home. Know he's going to be motivated to come here. And then John Fitzpatrick, who we really didn't get to see last year. Um, I loved what he was able to do at Georgia, another blocking tight end. But I think he has a little bit more things that he probably could do as well in the pass catching game, with his size. So it'd be interesting to see how they deploy these tight ends this year. But I'm cool with the depth here at this position for the tight end room. Maybe they pick up a guy in day 3 or something like that. But for right now, um, because of it's not going to be a whole lot of you know tight end formations. I think it will be some 12 personnel, but I think it's going to be more 11. So that's why I can see them, like I said, going 7 receivers and just maybe 3 tight ends. We know Arthur Smith loves his tight end, so it was a little bit different there when you think about the way you're looking at that tight end room. So um, next position is QB. We got Kirk Cousins and we got Tyler Heineke as the backup. And shout out to Tyler Heineke for taking that pay cut because that $9 million salary that he had for this year. So shout out to him for taking that pay cut. I really like he did that. That was awesome for him. But Raheem Morris did mention that they plan on bringing in another quarterback to challenge behind Kirk Cousins. So maybe that's going to happen in the draft. Maybe they're going to come in free agency. We don't know. We'll just have to see who they decide to bring in um, for our quarterbacks. And right now, we have 2 quarterbacks on the roster. Um, let's go to the running back room. Running backs: Bijan, Tyler Algier, Avery Williams, and Carlos Washington. Um, I think we're good. I'm going to just say it right now. I think we are good um, in our running back room. We got 2 headed monsters, and we want them to get touches. So the less guys you bring in there to to take touches away from those guys, the better. So I'm cool with our running backs. I think Avery Williams might have probably have a bigger role in special teams than he have in the in the running back room. But I do like what Avery Williams is capable of as a running back. As we all know, Avery Williams actually got drafted as a corner. So um, that's one of the things we got to kind of remember, that he trains for positions, but his ability to be able to move with the ball, especially you see what he do in the return game. That's why the transition seems seamless for a guy like Avery Williams. Um, Glad he's coming back from injury. Let's see how he looks. Remember, before he went out, he was one of the leading um, average per yard per game in return game before he went out. And with this new rule in the return game, I think he's going to play a big role for us. So, um, welcome back to the squad, Avery Williams. All right, all right. Last but not least, the fullback. And believe it or not, I didn't even think we would have a fullback on the roster. But looking at this depth chart that was put out there, like I said, once again, this is not the Atlanta Falcon depth chart. This is a depth chart that somebody put out there on the internet, what their projections are. But Tucker Fisk, guy that probably more than a tight end than a fullback, but you do like the way he blocks for the team. So I wouldn't be upset about that, but it's just going to depend on how they construct the roster and how many spots I have. I don't know if they're going to utilize a lot of fullback. We know that Kyle Shanahan does use fullback. Sean McVay maybe not as much. So that's why you look at the different versions of this Shanahan and McVay offense. It is ran a little differently. So that's what you got to take from that. So guys, those are offensive positions on the depth chart. And for me, the only holes that I really can see that is a real concern that I would really be, kind of upset that we don't address is maybe going out and get some insurance at the offensive tackle position. Even though I do like what Storm Norton was able to do from a swing tackle position, what he was able to do last year. Probably going to get another receiver, and then probably bringing in another quarterback to compete just to make sure that we solidify that as well. So that's where I stand with the offensive side of the ball. The Atlanta Falcons address a lot of their needs on offense, especially in particular the wide receiver room and the quarterback in free agency. So now they can really focus on to where we're going to get to the other side of the ball, defense, and look at this depth chart, right? All right, so let's go to our DNs right now. And if you're looking at the DNs, of course, we got the guy coming in his second year, and Zach Harrison, right? We love what he was able to do towards the end of the season. He started to flash, started to see why he was the pick that he got. Why Atlanta Falcons decided to pick him up. A guy that was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, but just did never live up to that kind of 5-star hype at Ohio State, like other 5 stars that have been there, on that defensive line. But some guys take him longer to get it going. You love his traits, you love his length. I actually love his explosion, the way he was able to do certain things as well. So I just love what Zach Harrison was able to do. Behind him, you got Damone Harris on defensive end. So now you start to see, like, you be like, who's Damone Harris, right? So that's where you can start to see some of the needs that what Atlanta Falcons might need to start to address in this draft, right? At nose tackle right now, you got David Omiyata. We know what we got with David. As long as he stay healthy, we're not going to have any issue with him. Behind him, they have Eddie Goldman as his backup right now, which is, like I said, if that's the case, that's a great defensive rotation. When David go out, bring in a guy like Eddie Goldman, I love that. So that'll be really good. Then you got Lakel London behind him. And Kel play some plays for us last year. So right now, looking at the defensive tackle position, um, it's not as big as a need as you would think, especially if Eddie Goldman decided to stay. But I'm liking that right now. Of course, you look at the other defensive tackle. You got Grady Jarrett right beside David Omanyata and Contavious Street, the guy that they brought back. So, like I said, that defensive tackle rotation, I really like it a lot. Then behind Contavious Street, you got Taquan Graham, a guy that we was really high on, before he went down a couple seasons ago now with his injury, and we thought he was going to actually be able to have a better year this year, but that definitely was not the case. So, um, but but I like the defensive rotation. Now you go to the outside linebacker position, and this is where we start talking about our pass rushers, guys, and where we know for a fact that this is where the Atlanta Falcons they got a need. Right? We know they got a need. It's no ifs, ands, or but about it. Even if these guys start to take off, they still need to address the outside linebackers, especially the Atlanta Falcons going to a 3-4. So, Armor Ebiketie is there um, as the number one guy. And then you got Ade Okundeji behind him. It'll be interesting to see what Ade Okundeji is able to do. A guy that we was high on the first season, really, really took a big dip the season after. Then last season got injured, was on the IR. Actually, I almost thought that he wasn't going to make the squad, but he's still here. We'll see what they'll be able to get out of Ade Okundeji. Um, Guys, that's right. That's where you start to get kind of think about, wow, that's on the left side. You go to the right side on offense, right? Our linebackers, you got Lorenzo Carter and D'Angelo Malone. So those are the other two um outside linebackers you got. That's thin. So right off the bat, like I said, there's no question about it. The Atlanta Falcons need to address that position, right? You hope some of these guys develop and be better off than what they are. You really hope that, but at the same time, But at the same time, they need to address this position. It's no ifs, ands, or but about it. If the Atlanta Falcons do not address this, I think we are going to be kind of pissed off about it, right? Let's be honest about it. Now, do they have to address it at number 8? No, they don't have to address it at number 8, especially if they feel like they're reaching, right? Um, like I said, we did say they had a need in the wide receiver room, which not really, but if they feel they're going BPA best player available, and they feel like one of those outside linebackers or 5 or 6, lower on their grade when they're picking it, either trade down or get another guy in a later round. So that's the way I'm looking at it. But they need to address the outside linebacker position. It's no other way around it. No ifs, ands, or but about it. This is where they need to really address one of their positions. So looking at this depth chart, it's kind of thin. You got Armand Ebiketie and Lorenzo Carter. Lorenzo Carter is definitely good in the run, but getting after the passer is not what we like. Ebiketie, you see the flashes there. Maybe he can take another step, but hopefully he can do that. Um, let's go to the linebacker position. Of course, we got Caden Ellis and Emilio Efford, right? No, don't know who that is. Undrafted guy. That's behind Caden Ellis right now. So once again, probably another need for the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, on the other side, you got Nate Lemon and Troy Anderson. Welcome back, Troy Anderson, who may have lost his starting job because Nate Lemon played so well last year. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with that linebacker room with those inside linebackers. But I think they still need to add at least one more dynamic linebacker, for insurance, because you saw what happened this past year with Troy Anderson going down with the torn pec. So you want to be able to have insurance there at that position. So that could be a need for us at the linebacker position. Um, but that's where we're at with our linebackers. Let's go to our cornerbacks. And this is where you can see where the Atlanta Falcons strategy took place this offseason, right? We went to the offensive side of the ball and we went down the depth chart and you couldn't find a lot of holes, right? But then you come to the defensive side of the ball and now you're starting to see where it's more than just one position that could be a concern that you might have some some angst about because of how thin the position can be, and if any injuries happen, right, you're gonna really be up in arms about it. So that's what I mean by something like that. All right, so we talk about left cornerback. You talk about Clark Phillips, the third is on that left side right now. Look like he's the number 2 corner for this Atlanta Falcon team. The number 2 corner for this Atlanta Falcon team. And then you have sorry about that. You have Clark Phillips, then you have Natron Brooks, who actually did pretty good in the preseason last year. So I'm glad to see he's still on the team, a developing corner there. Could be a spot corner for us. So you got to build depth in that room. So I like Natron Brooks. On the other side, you got AJ Terrell. It's that right corner, right? Solo there by himself. If you're looking at the nickelbacks, though, you got Mike Hughes and you got D. Alford, right? So Mike Hughes actually got a little bit more playing time in the second half of the season over D. Alford. D. Alford was playing, punt return there. Mike Hughes kind of blew it because the way he was his decision making on returning punts last season, especially in that Tennessee game. I don't know what he was doing, but those are nickelbacks, Alford and Hughes. You look at the cornerback. So right now, looking at this roster, right, the Atlanta Falcons have 5 corners listed on this depth chart, which means 100%, 100% without a shadow of a doubt, the Atlanta Falcons is going to add at least 3 or 4 corners to this room before the start of training camp. Right, you have to have bodies there for just to be able to make it through traffic, make it through camp. So you're going to be able to see more bodies. Right now they got 5 corners. So I will see the Atlanta Falcons at least adding at least 3 or 4 more corners to that depth chart before it's over. And definitely I can see them drafting one. Go to our safeties. You got DeMarco Hellams. Actually right now this projection got DeMarco Hellams over Richard Grant. You got Lucas Dennis, another guy that they got at the strong safety position. You look at our free safeties. Of course, we got Jesse Bates the third, Michael Abernathy, and then Trey Tarpley, right? Some guy we probably never heard of before, but that's our safety room. Right now, they got actually more safeties on this roster than they got cornerbacks. So, like I said, you see the need there where they're going to definitely bring in more cornerbacks to this roster, and I don't think that's going to be an issue. We know this is a deep cornerback draft. It's corners in the free agency still out there, so it'll be easy for the Atlanta Falcons to add corner depth and be able to booster up this. We just don't know when they're going to decide to do it, so we just have to see about that. Right now, and last but not least, guys, you always got to look at special teams because special teams is a big thing for this team. And if the Atlanta Falcons don't address special teams, it could come back and bite them in the butt. So you want to be able to see that. And of course, our punter for the team is definitely Bradley Pinion, of course, right? Our kicker is Young Wei Koo. No doubt about that. Long snapper is Liam McCullum. And then you got your returners, Avery Williams and Ray McLeod. Right now, they got Avery Williams slotted to be the kickoff returner and the punt returner starter, but we'll see about that. I think, especially on that kickoff rule, we're going to see both of those guys back there. They probably going to play with that a little bit more, during the season and see how that works out. But I'm really excited about that. But both of those guys are dynamic returners in this game, and with this new format for this kickoff return, I think it's going to be really big. So I'm really excited about it. I like what um, this new rule. I'm excited about it. It's something new. A lot of people don't like change, but you just got to take that with a grain of salt. So, with that being said, guys, that is the depth chart for the Atlanta Falcons. We went through the whole roster, and I can be honest with you, when you're looking at the roster, it's a solid roster, guys. It's you can see the holes where they're needed, and if the season were to start today, you would have some concern in some areas. But since it's April and we got 8 draft picks, we still got a free agency period that we can have after the draft. I feel really good about this team right now going into, um, you know, to 2024 NFL draft. I feel good that they're going to be able to address some of those concerns that we may have for this team, and they're going to get it rolling. Especially what we talked about earlier, the way Raheem Morris was able to set the tone for this team. So based off what we've seen right now, I am once again going to be that glass half full guy and be positive about this team. That's where I'm at right now. Um, I still think it's incomplete because they got needs that they definitely need to be able to address. And I think they're going to be able to address a lot of those in this draft. The biggest thing about this draft is a lot of these guys that we do draft, we want them to be able to be some contributor to this team this season, you know. And sometimes, we hopefully these young guys can get it, and sometimes they won't be able to. So we just don't know how it's going to pan out. But I still like um, where we're at right now, here in April, on April the 3rd, 22 days away from the NFL draft. So, guys, let me know what you think about today. Um, what you think about Eddie Goldman, right off the bat. Is you think third time's a charm? He's actually going to stay here. If he do decide to stay with the team this time, that's going to be big for us, adding depth to that room. I like that rotation with Eddie Goldman and Contavious Street, and maybe Taquan Graham mixing in there. When Grady and David goes out, you like that. Um, I love the way they mixed up the receiver room here. See if they decide to add another receiver. Um, but the biggest thing is what they're gonna do with the pass rush. I think we all really, really want to know how that's going to transpire here, in the next few weeks here in the NFL draft. So, guys, that's all I have today. We are here. I'm excited. Hope you're excited too. Give me your thoughts on this Atlanta Falcons team and where they're right now here on April 3rd. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.